Hello everyone, I'm Mark Zane and welcome to Zane Investment Solutions. Please take a moment to review the following disclaimer. Thank you for that, and welcome to week 47 of the Forex market review. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself and just where I've come from. I've got about 20 years experience in the telecommunications industry. It's where I spent the major part of my time learning how to trade, at the same time doing the normal day-to-day job. So I was pretty much just like any other Joe Blow out there. Have a career, working hard and obviously trying to make a better life for myself. And during that time, I invested in all different types of areas: shares, option tradings, warrants, you name it, I did it. And it wasn't until I came across foreign exchange or Forex in the past 6 to 7 years was when the light pretty much went off in my head and thought to myself, I can actually get this. I can actually understand the market for Forex and understand the countries and what's happening in those countries to determine a good fundamental direction of where I believe the market would go. Now, this wasn't just on my own. Obviously, I had some help with a learning provider, and they did a very good job at training me. And it would have been a lot better if in the early stages that they had some type of private coach or mentor, someone who could just lead me along the way. But unfortunately, I had to stumble a little bit and learn from my mistakes and get to where I am today. So I just want to let everyone know out there that you could be working full time, you could be struggling yourself and just think to yourself, maybe you can't do this, but you can. Anybody can do this. You just got to have dedication and determination and just focus on what you want in life and achieving those goals. So to go ahead and do that, you just need to make a step and watch some free videos out there and just learn from people and just take the time and prioritize what you believe is more important in your life. And it doesn't matter what age you are, young or old. If you're looking at retiring, it's 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 there for you, and you just got to make that decision. So besides me spending 20 years in the telecommunications industry, I also got other diplomas out there and management degrees. I've got property degrees. I've got financial diplomas and financial planning degrees and all these other things. But it really comes down to you don't need anything to learn how to trade. You just need to have the patience and time. And if you can find someone who can teach you, then that's probably the best way to go. Learn from their mistakes and hopefully not make too many of your own. I've never worked in a major bank. I've never worked with investment portfolios, large corporations. I've never worked with anybody like that, but it just goes to show that you don't have to be in that industry to do what you want to do and do what you love. So that's just a little bit about me. I just wanted to put that out there that it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. If you really want to become successful in your life, you just need to make that step, make the change and say, yep, this is for me, and go ahead and do that. And anybody can do that. So feel confident in yourself that you can do that and just, learn from other people's mistakes if you can and try to avoid them doing them yourself. But however, if you do fail, don't look at it as failing, look at it as moving forward in life. Because the only way we can move forward is to sometimes fail and make poor decisions. And what we do learn from that, we can step forward. So if you do something and you make a mistake and it fails and it doesn't work, you learn from those mistakes. And next time you do it, you're less anxiety you have from doing it the second time round, because you've already done it and you sort of know what worked and what didn't work, and you go from there. So please go ahead, give it a go, and see how you go. So that's a little about me. I hope that helped a little bit and give you a bit of introduction. And today we're just going to have a review of the Daily FX website for week 47. Look at the news which has happened early part of the week and what's going to happen towards the end of this week. And then just take another look at the New Zealand USD chart. As you can see, we're on the Daily FX website, and what you'll need to do prior to each session, unless you have it saved on your web page, is you just need to set it for your local GMT time, and this is so that all the news announcements appear in your local time, and it makes it a lot easier to see when they're coming up, and so you can just have a review of after the announcements and have a prediction on which way the market may go prior to the news actually coming. And then we're just going to filter today. We're just going to filter on the high important news, just have a bit of a review of what's happened at the beginning of the week and what's likely to happen towards the end of the week. And as you can see, obviously the yen GDP numbers came out worse than expected, so any pairs affected by the yen would have been strengthened as the yen weakened. And this is probably normal. Obviously, yen, they're trying to print money out there, trillions of dollars each month, and trying to boost the economy. So this number is not really good for them. And I wouldn't be surprised that over the next month or next coming months that they decide to add to their stimulus package, which will see the yen weaken even further. So if anybody's actually long on something like USD yen or the pound yen, you're probably going to see some further upside based on some poorer numbers coming out from the yen and the possibility that they're going to print more money. GDP pound numbers, CPI numbers for the pound came out, and these were just slightly better than expected, and that's good news if you're long the pound, and so that would have worked in your favor. And the CPI numbers for the USD also came out, and these were just slightly better than expected as well. So anybody who was long the US dollar would have seen a bit of a movement overnight in their direction. So again, if you're USD yen, with a couple announcements that's come through, you would have seen the USD yen strengthen based on the yen getting weaker, and now with the US getting stronger, again you would have seen some more movement in there. And obviously any pairs affected by the USD, such as the Aussie USD, Euro USD, or the New Zealand USD, which we'll look at today, will be affected by some positive news. And then coming out later towards the end of the week, we're going to have the US Fed release their minutes. So that's going to be interesting to see what they actually read in there versus what they discussed. And obviously Canadian CPI numbers coming up. So if you're in the Canadian dollar, take a note of these numbers coming out. This is midnight, 30 minutes past midnight, obviously Australian Eastern States time. But obviously the time zones differ based on your GMT time. Now here we have is the New Zealand USD. So you can see up here the New Zealand USD daily chart, and the line I've drawn in at the moment is the last about week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, I put out a week 45 end of week video, and that's roughly the point where we're just talking about what was going to happen. And just a refresher of what I was talking about, I was indicating that we're coming down to the oversold area with a stochastic indicator, and it's likely that we could find some support, and or it could actually push straight through that. So we're just going to draw those lines in again, and that was a support area we'll likely might find. And just obviously zooming that down a little bit more around there, you can see it actually has found some support. So it did have that little bit of a pullback, and it's pulled back down lower and found that support there. So whether or not it finds support here and bounces higher or pushes through, that's yet to be seen. But the one thing we can see on this higher time frame, the daily time frame, is that the potential for pullback lower to a double bottom. There's still over 240 pips to come about here. So I personally think that I don't think the market has really driven in what could happen next month. We have seen obviously some decent down days, and that's based on the market predicting that quite possibly Governor Wheeler, so Governor Wheeler for the New Zealand dollar is likely to possibly drop their interest rate again. So, but I still think that if that's the case, and that does happen next month, along with the US Fed increasing their interest rates, so that's like a double whammy: New Zealand decreasing and the US dollar Fed increasing, you could see these bottoms hit quite quickly. So there's still some potential there. So obviously any pullback is probably a good selling opportunity if you're fundamentally or even technically short the New Zealand dollar. So that's just my personal perspective of where I think the market would go, but you just need to take obviously your own financial advice based on those and make your own decisions. If we zoom down into the 4-hour chart again and just look at a couple wave cycles, we did say this could be wave 1, up for 2, down for 3. So it hasn't really come back above the zero line, so all of this movement could still be for wave 3. So a nice pullback, we'll probably want to look left, and somewhere around these areas, you know, we can see it. So there's the recent resistance areas, and you can see it's bounced here, and bounced here. So roughly around about these levels here, in between here, would probably be a good selling opportunity if that's what you deemed was necessary for your own personal trading style. And if we go down to the 1-hour chart, we definitely started to see some divergence, and so divergence obviously on the larger time frame would be your low in price, but then we have that higher AO, and we can see that. So, you know, there could be a turning point around these levels that it could possibly go higher, and then if it all pans out for you, gets back into these resistance areas, you could look at it taking the opportunity to sell it lower. So it's still a couple of weeks away before the New Zealand and the Fed, US Fed, talk about their interest rates. So you know, there could be a bit of a pullback. The big corporations out there could decide that you know, we want to get in at a better price, so let's push it back higher and then sell it back down again just prior to the news coming out. And then you would see these lows being reached. So there could be a good risk to reward there. You know, you could be risking a couple hundred pips to make double that. So with 200 to make 400 pips, and that's a good risk to reward. And that's one thing you always want to consider when trading, is that the amount of money you're making is a lot more than what you're risking. So you don't have to worry about getting, you know, an 80% success rate. Now you could work on a 50% success rate, and if you're risking $10 to make $20, if you know half the time you get it wrong, so out of 10 trades, 5 times you get it wrong, you lose $10. That's $50 lost. But then 5 times you get it right and you made $20, that's $100 you've made. So $100 minus the $50 loss, you've made $50. So it's a having a good risk to reward really pans out, that you don't need a good success rate. You can have an average success rate and still make money. So that's I'm going to leave that there, but just have a look at that, and you can use support and resistance levels and look at the news and for all type of charts. And it's a good idea to keep track of where things are going and where they've come from. And the more you keep track of these news announcements, the more you'll get entwined with them, and you'll really get a feeling of where the market possibly could push to, either down or up, depending on your direction that you believe the market could go for that specific pair. Well, thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed this week's video, week 47, and I look forward to bringing you another video next week in week 48, and we'll see how much further the pairs such as the New Zealand USD and other pairs have travelled during that week session. Thank you, take care, all the best and success in your trading.